Welcome to another edition of the Backyard Professor podcast series. I'm coming at you live from the Rocky Mountains here in lovely Idaho. I'm Kerry Schertz, the Backyard Professor. I'm going to tangentially discuss more of simplifying Hugh Nibley's materials with a little bit of extra background on some of Nibley's analysis of the priesthood, and how this ties in recently with some inquiries I've had about my podcasts, as well as some acquisitions that I've recently made that I want to share because I am so very, very excited about these. I recently had the opportunity to, with a used bookstore here in my hometown, I was able to trade off I had several hundred books that I haven't analyzed and read for years, so I traded them off for an acquisition of the complete 39-volume set of the Early Christian Church and Patristic Fathers, the 9 magnificent volumes of Augustine, the homilies, the writings against the Manichaeans and against the Donatists and against the Pelagians, and I have the complete library now of St. John Chrysostom, the golden-mouthed, all of his homilies and analysis and discussions on the priesthood and the ascetic traditions. I've got Hermas and Tatian and Athenagoras, Theophilus, Clement of Alexandria, Tertullian, Minucius Felix, Commodius, Origen, Hippolytus, Cyprian, Caius, Novatian, Gregory Thaumaturgus, Dionysius the Great, Julius Africanus, Methodius, Arnobius, Lactantius. There's ancient homily and liturgies, Syriac documents, the Clementine recognitions and homilies. I've got Eusebius' church history and the life of Constantine, Theodoret, Jerome, Gennadius, Rufinus, Socrates, Sozomenus, the church histories, Athanasius, Gregory of Nyssa, St. Jerome, Cyril of Jerusalem, Gregory of Nazianzen, Basil, Hilary of Poitiers, John of Damascus, St. Ambrose, Sulpicius, Severus, Vincent of Lerins, John Cassian, Leo the Great, Gregory the Great, Ephraim, Sirius, Aphrahat. I even have the 7 ecumenical councils. I also have the Apostolic Fathers Justin Martyr and Irenaeus. I mean, it's simply breathtaking how much information is in these 39 volumes. But to boot, the bonus that I've received is the 10-volume tomes edited by Kittel and Friedrich, the Theological Dictionary of the New Testament. And these texts by themselves take up 2 full shelf spaces in my library. And why have I acquired these? Why do we insist on chasing money instead of further light and knowledge? This was Nibley's emphasis on his idea of the priesthood. I mean, I'm like a kid in a candy shop with no cash register. I can just stuff my pockets full of anything and everything I want. The idea here is to seek a greater light and knowledge. I mean, this was Nibley's entire premise and principle of all of his instructions and teachings, and the reasons why he researched what he did, why he did as extensively as he did, etc. He never stopped with what he had. He continued to stretch for further. And it's very interesting because as I've been reading in the epistles of Ignatius, he wrote several epistles to the Philadelphians, the Romans, the Trallians, the Magnesians, the Ephesians, read about the martyrdom of Polycarp, and the first Clement, the first epistle of Clement, so on and so forth. Well, in his epistle to the Philadelphians, this is in the very first volume of the Apostolic Fathers, page 84. This is in the long recension, chapter 8, page 84. Ignatius says something very interesting. For I have heard some saying, if I do not find the gospel in the archives, I will not believe it. To such persons I say that my archives are Jesus Christ, to disobey whom is manifest destruction. My authentic archives are his cross and death and resurrection, and the faith which bears on these things, by which I desire through your prayers to be justified. He who disbelieves the gospel disbelieves everything along with it, for the archives ought not to be preferred to the Spirit. Now I'm going to emphasize this. This is basically Ignatius's way of showing Nephi's prophecy in the Book of Mormon, which says, there are many who shall say, a Bible, a Bible. We have a Bible. We have no further need of any more light and knowledge. We've got the archives. Ignatius found the same arguments being presented, and he says, my archives are Jesus Christ. And Jesus Christ, of course, is the God of revelation, further light and knowledge. That's my theme today. I want to discuss it basically with the lesson on priesthood that Nibley gave. This is in the, I believe, Meridian magazine. I don't have the exact reference. Unfortunately, it's December 1990, page 10 and 11, but whoever gave this to me did not write down where they got it from. Sorry about that. It was when Nibley gave his classes on various aspects of the priesthood. He says, the priesthood ceases to be effective when exercised in any degree of unrighteousness. And see, here's the ultimate control of who has the power. The Lord will share the priesthood, but only on his terms, not ours. And that's D&C 131-37. But it operates by the Spirit, and the Spirit is not deceived, but it is exquisitely sensitive to the slightest color of fraud or pretension or self-will, ambition, cruelty, whatever we have. When we undertake to exercise control or dominion or compulsion upon the souls of men in any degree of unrighteousness, behold, the heavens withdraw themselves, and the Spirit of the Lord is grieved, and when it is withdrawn, amen to the priesthood or authority of that man. That's D&C 121-37. Well, what about the righteous dominion of the priesthood, though? This can be easily recognized, because it only operates by persuasion, by long-suffering, by gentleness and meekness, and by love. But now this is a special kind of love, you see. This isn't just mouthing love by lip service. This is by love unfeigned. In other words, it's not faked. It's not a show being put on to impress the world. It's given by kindness and pure knowledge, which shall greatly enlarge the soul without hypocrisy and without guile, with bowels full of charity toward all men. Even in the eternities, the power of the priesthood flows without compulsion